On this week's Most Craved,
the Suicide roster expands.
Be a man with Mulan.
Is Hugh Jackman leaving us as Wolverine? Hey guys, welcome to Most Craved. I'm Jenna Bush with Legion of Leia.
I'm Silas Lesnick with ComingSoon.net.
And I'm Whitney Seibold from Crave Online. Let's talk about the Suicide Squad. How do you pronounce that guy's name, Silas?
I've actually done junkets with Adewale, and he actually asked people not to say his last name because everybody screws it up. I'm going to give it a shot. It's Adewale Akinnuoye-Agbaje, who a lot of people know as Mr. Echo from Lost.
Yes.
Also the guy from that awful Pompeii movie.
He was great in it, though.
He was fine, just the movie's awful. So what role is he going to play in Suicide Squad?
He's going to be Killer Croc, which is a pretty interesting twist. It sounds like now we're hearing that Lex Luthor may be part of this movie. It's going to be a very big DC universe. One of the other questions is we learned that Deadpool's going to be rated PG-13. Will that carry over to Suicide Squad?
I really don't want them to do a PG-13 Suicide Squad movie.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
the big audiences for these are all kids. You know, they're going to want 10-year-olds to come see these movies.
Yeah, although Suicide Squad, I don't know. Can we just have that one be R? Well, I'm more excited for the casting.
Can we have Deadpool be R? We need at least 1 or 2 R-rated films. Think how great Guardians of the Galaxy would have been if they were cussing. It would have been a better movie, I think.
I'm personally of the opinion that, like, I'm fine with PG-13, especially in the case of Deadpool, where a big part of the joke is trying to fit this into some restrictions.
Okay.
Suicide Squad is a little more David Ayer. It's hard to imagine working within a PG-13 boundary.
I mean, you can push PG-13 pretty far these days, so I mean, I'm sure they can do a great job with it. And I'm far more excited hearing stuff about this than Batman v Superman, which I know is...
Well, I love that, you know, DC is, of course, following the Marvel mold. Let's introduce all the characters and have a big crossover event. Justice League movie. But I love that they're just getting all of the villains out in one go. They're not introducing them one at a time, and I think I kind of appreciate that they're sort of introducing a dozen supervillains at once, and then we can know who they all are.
Here's everyone.
I have the suspicion too that they're partially maybe to catch up with Marvel. They're just going to treat it like it's a universe.
Yeah.
And while Man of Steel may have been our technical introduction to this, I suspect I just have the hunch that Batman v Superman is going to be much more like Watchmen than Man of Steel. I suspect it's going to be a on-screen DC universe and just go from there. Yeah,
which I'm fine with. I mean, I think that's actually really cool. I think it's going to be hard to catch up with Marvel, but I'm excited for all of them.
I'm not, just because of Zack Snyder's involvement. I've not liked any of his movies with the exception of maybe the remake of Dawn of the Dead, and even that's not great. Watchmen, nice try. Not a great movie, and Man of Steel, I'm one of the haters, I suppose. But let's hope he has enough wherewithal and the producers are keeping a close enough eye on him that he can actually tie all this together, rather than just sort of disappear up his own orifices.
I honestly, I don't know if it needs to be tied up. I think if anything, it just needs to be opened up to the point that other creators can come in, which is hopefully what's happening with David Ayer. I am a fan of Zack Snyder.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, I actually am too. Yeah, and I also think that that the fact that they're opening this up into a big universe means that it's not going to, maybe it won't have as much of a Zack Snyder stamp on it. I mean, maybe it probably will, but just...
He's the one who sort of established the aesthetic, and if they are following the Marvel mold, they all look like Jon Favreau's Iron Man film, which was sort of the one that kicked it all off. So I have a feeling they're going to keep on going down this Snyder-Nolan universe that they created in Man of Steel, however good or bad it was.
Well, I'm really excited for Suicide Squad, and the more casting I hear about it, the more excited I am.
So are all the members cast now?
Well, that's what we don't know. I mean, the Killer Croc thing is brand new news. Who knows how big it's going to be before the end? And the same may very well be true of Batman v Superman, as we keep hearing.
More
Justice
Wonder
Leaguers
Woman and Cyborg is going to be in it as well, and Aquaman. They're just making a Justice League movie and sneaking it in on us, I think.
Totally.
I have no problem with that.
I'm fine with that.
In other news, Disney is doing further live-action remakes of their animated classics. Mulan came out in 1998. I guess that makes it an animated classic now, and now they're doing a live-action version of that one.
Well, it certainly it hits the peak nostalgia for people that saw
of a certain age.
Yeah.
Not like Cinderella, which came out in 1950.
And that's been redone a ton of times. I'm actually excited about Mulan. It's a really cool story, and it's a really cool actual legend about this.
Oh, it's a poem.
Right? Yeah, ballad. It's really, really interesting story, and I think this one could, with the exception of Mushu, could work as live action. Perhaps we don't do that.
And Disney's mold has been sort of doing these live action remakes of very specifically their animated versions of those stories. They're not doing new versions of the stories.
Well, they are and they aren't. I mean, the Alice in Wonderland, while I don't like it at all, is more a sequel than anything.
I suppose so, but Maleficent is
even that was like from a different perspective. And then Cinderella's
but that
the most
character is
straightforward.
from Disney. That character is not from the classic story. And Cinderella is a very straightforward remake. It has the same character names, the same visual cues, even the same mice as the original animated classic. So Mushu, sorry, he's probably going to be in there somewhere.
Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
I hope Mushu becomes a disembodied voice.
I'd be okay with that.
That she sort of prays and she hears a narrator played by Chow Yun-fat or whoever they get. And that's the one giving her the sort of advice, not Eddie Murphy.
Do you guys have Disney cartoons you'd like to see?
Well, I know they're doing Dumbo, which I think is ridiculous. We've talked about this in the show before.
That's a terrible idea.
Don't.
Why not?
Because it's just, please don't do that.
It's going to be great. Flying elephants. Just visually, it's going to be cool.
I would love to see them do The Black Cauldron in live action.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
Because that book was not served well by that movie. That movie's kind of obnoxious because it has that annoying sidekick character.
It's still cool.
They could do something in live action, or at least in CGI, that would feel more like an epic fantasy than the cartoon film ever did.
I think that would be fun. I don't know if there's, I don't like the idea of Dumbo, and I don't think you could
What about
really...
the Jungle Book?
They're doing the Jungle
Yeah,
Book.
the new Jungle Book. Little Mermaid, they haven't.
No, Little Mermaid seems like the jewel in the crown. Like that'll
gonna
make
happen.
$1 million.
And Beauty and the Beast is also coming. I think all the underwater stuff, nobody's unlocked the underwater movie yet.
Yeah.
I could see a live action
is why-
CGI Rescuers.
Oh, that would be adorable.
No, that would look too much like the Chipmunks movie.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. In other news, Hugh Jackman posted on, I believe, Instagram a picture of his hands with the claws,
Snickety,
saying that this was one last time. So we don't know if the next Wolverine movie, it sounds like that's going to be his final appearance as Wolverine, which makes me very, very sad. I mean,
do we know if he's going to appear in X-Men 8?
We don't know.
All right.
We do know that he was definitely referring to the last Wolverine movie
Right.
because the deal just closed for him to star in that.
Okay, well,
but
Hugh Jackman is 46.
Wolverine's like 100 something.
Yeah.
Yes, but Hugh Jackman doesn't live forever.
Oh,
You don't know that for
Hugh
sure.
Jackman is 46. He's a gorgeous man. He's in awesome shape. Everybody wants to make out with Hugh Jackman. But he can only play this role for so long, and I think he's wise to sort of step away. He doesn't need to play Wolverine for a 10th movie. He's played it. If he's going to be in X-Men 8, he'll have played Wolverine in 9 X-Men films. That's a
kind
lot.
of awesome.
It is a strange thing to hear,
That's
though.
more than any James Bond, you know?
Not that long ago, he was saying he'd like to play this character
forever.
So it may just be a marketing angle to be like, oh, make him think it's the last one. It may be that the story involves a final Wolverine story, who's actually dead in the comics right now.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
The last I heard, he was going to wait a couple decades and come back as Old Man Logan. That would be a fun movie.
Honestly, he's even talked about that storyline as being something he'd like to do. So it's weird to see this suddenly come up as like, are you not thinking of doing that?
I don't want it to be the last one. I have this feeling it won't be, but whatever.
I feel that he should go to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as D-Man, who is the guy that everybody mistakes for Wolverine because he wears almost exactly the same costume.
On that
Sure,
note,
why not? They got every other character now.
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you follow us on Twitter @MostCraved, and we will see you next week.